Hey there, YouTube. How is it going? I am the Killer Rabbit coming at you with a compare and contrast video today. Now, mainly what my compare and contrast videos will consist of is mainly books and or video games that have been changed or brought to the cinema environment. Now, today's compare and contrast shall be Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So, naturally, as always, the book is always different than the movie. And in this case, I actually am experiencing this, like, firsthand. I mean, like, most of the other times, we've never really gone in this gone this in depth about a movie and a book, but honestly, I've now just like looked into it and seen how different the movie is from the comic book. Now, little bit of what I know of Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim, originally a soft cover black and white comic book, they are now starting to come out with hardcover color editions of the comic book, which I am collecting so far. They are currently up to volume 5 of the Scott Pilgrim comic book series, and I am completely up to date. Now, the difference from the movie, I messed up, from the movie and the book itself, there's just like the fight scenes are a bit different, the characters are a bit different. And in the book, they focus more on different stories and different pasts of Scott Pilgrim and what his past relationships were, and in the book, they actually focus on Scott Pilgrim's job, and they focus like more on the relationship between him and Kim and his other past relationships or past friendships in any case. But other than that, like visual storyline wise, there are some things that the movie gets from the book correct, but most of the other times it's just I smeared my makeup. But most of the other times it's not too accurate. It's not completely accurate. But what movie is actually accurate to the book? If any of these movies were accurate to the story, comic book, novel, I mean, like, yeah, comic books like Superman, Batman, those are basically all accurate like that. But when it comes to like Harry Potter, Scott Pilgrim, Twilight, Aragon, Lord of the Rings, even they leave out certain things, but and they change around things too. And the main reason I think that is to save time and whatnot. So that's the main thing that I think they do that for. But if I were, let's see, let's actually go a little bit more like comparing and contrasting. Okay, so like for most of the fight scenes, I mean, yeah, one or two of the fight scenes are pretty much matching up between book and movie. Now, as far as a couple fights go, like, let's see. I forgot what her name was. That one rock and roll chick with the makeup. You punched me at the tit. Punched me at the boob. She didn't exactly die the way she did in the movie. That was actually done to someone else. She actually, and spoiler alert if you are trying to get into Scott Pilgrim, the comic book, she actually gets cut in half. She doesn't get poked in the back of the knee and explode into pieces due to a giant orgasm. But, yeah, that doesn't really match up. And the fight with the twins, it's not a Battle of the Bands battle. It's just like a fight in the warehouse. So, fight scenes and character-wise, the twins actually talk in this, where in the movie they don't talk at all for anything. So, you barely get any background history. about the X's, the 7 evil X's. Oh, shoot, that's one thing I forgot to cover. The basic premises of the story. Now, the story has to do with an ordinary boy, Scott Pilgrim. Dun, dun, dun. And it's all kind of somewhat taking place in an 8-bit world. Well, the fights are kind of taken as old school arcade mode. So whenever he defeats an enemy, it'll say KO, and he gets coins as like points, so to speak. To get, like, you know, if you get enough points, you get an extra life and whatnot in old arcade modes or even new school games. But yeah, it's something like that when it comes to the fighting sequences, which I love. That's amazing. I found that to be the best thing ever. But anyway, he's just a normal guy trying to make a living in Canada, and he's just, you know, trying to go on with his relationship wise, you know, he's dating a high schooler. He's like 22, she's like 18 or 17. Classic regular stuff. But then all of a sudden he meets this girl. He sees this girl, Ramona Flowers, best thing ever. Like the most beautiful thing he ever saw. So he tries to go out with her, which eventually he does, but he runs into his first enemy, who is in this book. I forgot his name. I don't really want to look it up because I want to try and keep this video to a time limit. But he then has to fight him, which leads to a battle. Scott Pilgrim obviously wins if you've seen the movie or read the book. But for those of you who haven't, he then questions Ramona, what was that all about? And then she explains, well, in order to actually be my boyfriend, you have to defeat my 7 evil exes. So then he has to go through this entire roster of evil boyfriends. And then it gets harder but more awesome on the way. In the book, the dialogue is just great. It's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely love it. In the movie, it's visually mesmerizing and it's visually unforgettable because it's just like, I find it to be great. I find it to be amazing. But in the movie, it just leaves a lot of blanks. I find out where in the comic book, it gives you a lot of information, but that information somehow, it's like, in its own way, it just kind of builds up on the characters, and it just actually makes you feel like you know the characters very well, which is just like personally almost. But that's kind of the basis of it. So all in all, if I had to choose, I would probably choose the comic book better, naturally. But visually wise, I would go with the movie. So I would highly recommend both, either way. So that is my compare and contrast for today. Next review, I'm still thinking on that. Sorry for the lateness on uploading a video. Just haven't really gotten around to it. Mainly, I haven't really felt doing a video. But either way, sorry from me to you guys. Thank you all for putting up with me and my lateness on that one. And the makeup wise, I just wanted to do face paint. I just felt like wanting to do face paint today. So anyway, this is the Killer Rabbit signing off, and I'll be back at you guys for another review. Thank you. Peace.